sharing their they will be sharing their heart, they will be sharing their business. And again, I would love to welcome you to the Crown Showcase. So excited. My name is Cindy Gould. I am the founder of the Victory Network and all things that are within here that we produce and bring to you. And our desire is to bring information to you that will uplevel your life. We know that you will be brought to watch this when it is perfect timing for you. Whether you're going to align with one of the coaches or all of the coaches today or in the future, we are so excited for you to do that. So today, each one of our coaches are going to share about 15 minutes, and they're going to teach you something that has to do with what they bring to the world. So lean in and enjoy this. I do invite you to grab a cuppa if you need that, or water, whatever it is, a snack. You're not going to want to miss anything. Also, grab your notebook or a notepad and a pen, and let's rock and roll. So, our first coach today, I'm excited to share with you Miss Manhattan. Yayoi Komiyama. She is an emotional eating coach. She's the founder of Brain to Belly. She's had over 2.5 decades in this industry and helping people to align their relationship between their brain and the belly. She actually owns and is the founder of the company Brain to Belly, which is exciting. If you haven't had the privilege and opportunity of listening to her podcast, she recently launched a podcast. I'll start on Monday. Anybody else? I know, right? I'm Joan's clapping. I'm just so proud of this. So great. And she's easily accessible. And what I mean by that is if you have a story to tell, and if you've got some things that you've triumphed through, reach out to her and share with her the things that you've actually experienced in regards to Brain to Belly. And if there are things that she can help you with, because when you hear her story and you hear the myriad of people that she's helped, you'll be like blown away. So again, without further ado, Ms. Yayoi Komiyama.
Hi. Okay. I am going to go into, let's see, my sharing. So I will share my presentation.
Thank you. While you do that, I
Um,
just want to also state that her presentation today is called Safe to Change.
yes.
What a powerful thing. A lot of us don't change. A lot of people don't change because you don't feel safe because you're so used to living in whatever you're living in, even if it's abuse or other things. So, okay, here we go.
Okay. So safe to change. Yes. So this is primarily thank you, Cindy, for introducing me. And like Cindy mentioned, it is about our connection with our brain to belly. And what I do is emotional eat. I help people with emotional eating. People that have had that extra bit on their bodies that they want to get rid of. Uh, that is something that I help people with because a lot of, in a lot of instances, let me just tell you, the reason that you keep on saying, I'll start on Monday, or that you keep on repeating these diets, it's not a lack of willpower or discipline. And it's because that your body and your mind is stuck in survival mode. And you're like, what are you talking about? Survival mode, right? And it's that caveman mentality that has been with us forever. And we've just trained our brains to be in that caveman survival mode. So most people think that weight struggles are about food, but it's really about safety, feeling safe. So getting out of that survival mode. So when you're feeling stressed, your brain, your body, all of you, you feel overwhelmed, you feel judged, and you feel like you're unsafe to do anything. And your nervous system prioritizes that instead of going into transformation. So no amount of discipline or willpower is going to override that in your brain and your body. So, like I always like to say, you can't shame your nervous system into peace. So why do we keep starting over? You've promised yourself this Monday it's going to be different. And yeah, this time I'm going to stay on track. Yeah, I know exactly what to do. No problem. I've got this. Yet somehow we go back into that cycle. Monday comes and we're like, no, I'll do it next Monday. How many of you have said that? Can I have a show of hands, actually? Yeah, yeah, me too. I mean, how many times have I done that? And what that does is it creates shame and you start criticizing yourself and you feel that guilt. And what it does is it creates distrust. So you start not believing in yourself. So the problem isn't that you don't know enough. The problem is that your nervous system has learned to live in that survival mode, in that caveman mentality. So survival mode changes everything. So when your brain perceives stress or emotional danger, what happens when it comes to eating? Your cravings increase. Your emotional eating increases because I'm sure you've all know this. When you're in that survival mode, when you're desperate, somehow or another, you feel that eating is going to calm you, that getting into those bag of chips or those cookies is going to calm you down. It's going to alleviate that. I deserve that because I'm so stressed. And then consistency becomes harder to do. And it becomes difficult to regulate that. And what it does is your brain and your body start focusing on protecting yourself, feeling safe, not transforming. Because for transformation to happen, you need to feel safe. So safety before strategy. So heart coherence is what I use in my brain to belly practice and what I practice with my clients. And it's a process of bringing the brain, the belly, the heart, your nervous system into alignment so that the body finally feels safe. And that way your brain is more flexible and capable of creating and doing what you need to do. So let's get into this. So I always, my mentor always says and has taught me, and I believe this thoroughly, is that as you think, so you feel. As you feel, so you do. And as you do, so you have. So think, feel, do, have. This is at the core of everything I teach, and I think it's at the core of any transformation. So when you think my body's not broken, you feel safer, you feel grounded. And what we do with this heart is this heart coherence practice, which I will teach you in a minute. We're going to learn this, and I suggest you do it daily. It only takes 3 minutes, really, 5 minutes tops. And what that's going to create for you is less urgency, less food noise. We all know that one. Oh, the ice cream's calling me at 3 a.m. in the morning. Or, the cookies in the cupboard. Where did I hide them? And we go searching for them. We go browsing in our cupboards and our refrigerators for things that don't, help us, right? So we're going to lose all of that. And you're going to start believing in yourself and your capabilities more. So, and I'd like to say that transformation does not start with punishment because we tend to punish ourselves when that happens. And I've seen that happen with myself. I've seen it with my clients. And we say, I was so bad. I don't deserve to do this. I don't deserve that cookie. I don't deserve to be treated well. I don't deserve to eat my full meal because I ate that cookie or that ice cream or whatever. So let's start with creating some safety within you. Okay, so let's experience this heart coherence. So what I'd like you to do is you could turn off your cameras if you'd like to. It's up to you. But start off by putting your hand on your heart because we're going to focus on your heart and your breath. You could close your eyes if you'd like, but I'd say take a deep breath in, let it out, in, let it out, and one more time, in and let it out. Now, think of one thing that just brings you joy. It could be your family. For me, it's my doggy. It's my little puppy. It's going out at the beach, having my feet touch the sand and having the cool water ripple across my feet, or feeling the sunshine on my face. Find that one thing that brings you joy. Focus on that and bring it into your heart. Find that image and just bring that into your heart. Imagine it. What do you feel? What do you smell? What are the sounds you hear? Let that feeling just spread from your heart to the rest of your body, spreading out to your arms, going up to your head, to your crown, and then from your crown just exploding and just trickling down all over your body. That sense of joy, the sense of calm that you feel when you feel that joy. Just let it just envelop your body. Feel that joy. Feel that connection, whether it's with your puppy, whether it's with your child, whether it's with nature. Feel it. Live in it. And feel your body and say, I am safe now. I am connected with my heart. No self-criticism, no doubt, no distrust, just love and belief in myself. And when you're ready, you could come back. That is heart coherence. It takes just like that. I don't know, each one of you probably had a different experience. I'd like to hear, what did you focus on? I know for me, everyone knows it's my puppy, but everyone else, I'd like to find out. Does anyone want to share what they focused on and brought to their heart? Oh, Christine.
For me, it's being around water. Um,
Ah,
one memory of mine is sitting on a hammock chair looking at a lake. And
ooh,
the other one is, just walking on the beach. Water is very calming for me.
yeah. And did it bring in that calming, well, I could hear it in your voice, that calm and that energy, that calm
Mhm.
energies are all around you. I could see it and feel it. Yes. Joan, you had your hand up.
Yeah, it was so awesome when you said that. Oh my gosh, I could see myself and my family on a ranch and the children hearing them laughing and giggling. They're on horses just running as fast as they can. And then when you said smells, to me, there's nothing like the smell of a horse. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're a horse person, it is one of the most relaxing and peaceful scents to me to be able to inhale and smell the scent of the animal. It's just so relaxing because it brings all the memories of me riding since I was a kid. And
Oh,
just the family, Ohana. So I thought it was so cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
And it was so simple, right?
Mm.
It was
Yeah.
just so simple for you to connect. And heart coherence is just that. When you're feeling that stress, and for me, it helps to go like this. It helps for me to touch my heart because I guess I'm also programming myself by doing this. By doing this, I feel my heart and I feel like, that calmness, that love is just spreading. And so you can tap into this tool at any time, anywhere, any one of us, when you're feeling that emotional stress. And usually when we reach for those cookies or the crackers, or we go browsing in our refrigerator and our cupboards for anything to nosh on, it's usually because we're stressed. And to calm that stress, heart coherence is one of the techniques that I utilize in Brain to Belly, and I like to teach. And, whenever, even in the morning when you get up, do this and feel that connection with the rest of the universe, with the love and peace that you are connected to at all times. So this is just one technique that I use, and I do this in my 8-week program called Recode, Reset, and Rise, which you ladies helped me actually create that title. So I thank you very much for that. And I love it because it is really about recoding yourself, resetting your body to feel safe, to start that transformation. And it's really about rewiring your brain, calming that nervous system, regulating that nervous system so you feel safe to accept and to receive the transformation that you are going to create. And rebuild that belief in yourself. Trust yourself again. So reconnect your brain, your belly, your heart. And I always say, I am the connector because I connect the brain, the belly, the soul. And this program really helps you stop that exhausting cycle of I'll start on Monday, I'll start on Monday. So we were never meant to keep starting over. So Recode Reset is going to start in mid-June. And if you're ready to enroll, connect with me. Here's my QR code. And I'd like to leave you with just one more quote, which is a quote or saying. I'd like to say, like we said earlier, you can't shame your nervous system into peace. Your body and mind that wants to feel safe, and it can finally change when you find that peace. And when the whole self changes, everything can change. So thank you very much for being here, and I hope to hear from you. So
Yay.
that's it. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody just give it up for Yayoi. That was so fabulous. And did you find yourself, ladies, did you just find yourself like, with her voice and all the calming things? And I remember when I've heard her speak before, and I know a lot of you have as well. And one of the most powerful statements, Yayoi, that I've ever heard you say is that you can't shame your nervous system into peace. Like that is to me such a powerful thing because we've conditioned ourselves, even with the whole comparison thing that we have with social media, with everything, and we condition ourselves to be critical. And you talked a little bit about that as well, and just to be self-critical. So let's say that I join your group or anybody here. And hi, Santa, because I see that you joined us too. So nice to see you. And that somebody joins your group, your 8-week course, what are some of the results that I could expect as because I'm participating? And no, everybody's results are different, and you deal with things that deal with people's bodies, and you're not like, Mayor McCheese at home watching over what they're eating, so,
No, no,
but
no,
what
I
can
won't.
somebody
But
expect?
you can expect that we will have you'll have, well, we'll start off week one is really the heart coherence because I want you to start off feeling safe. Because if without that, nothing's really going to happen, and because food and eating is such an integral part of our daily lives, you
Mhm.
have to feel that safety before we can tackle all of that. There is no diet per se, but I will give you a general structure, framework on nutrition and eating a healthier way, well, having a healthier way of eating. So I know a lot of you don't like fruits and vegetables, but we'll find ways to get those into your lives because your body needs all of that nutrition. And we want to have that nutrition balanced. I want you to eat, and this is my pet peeve, but I want you to start eating healthier without the processed stuff because processed food has been created in laboratories by the food companies to get you hooked on them. And it really doesn't provide the nutrition that your body needs. Now, I'm not a health nut. I'm not, I like my processed foods too. Let me tell you, I do eat them. And I'm going to admit that I do because I'm not going to preach something and say, oh no, I'm Miss Clean. I'm not. So, I will have, like Cindy knows, I love my sweets. I love my crepe cake. And who knows what's in that? You know, it's probably cleaner than most things, but it's not like a Twinkie. But, you know, I
Yeah,
haven't
for
had a
sure.
Twinkie. I haven't had a
Well,
Twinkie in ages, but
yeah. And you're a coffee snob, which I love, and chocolate is good for you.
yes,
I
dark
just,
chocolate.
so, okay, well, thank you so much. Each of you, here's the thing. When you think of her, what she's bringing to us with the recode, right? It's recode and
Recode,
reset and
reset, and
rise.
rise.
And
And
in your life, that will do it in more. What I know about working with you is that you're going to do the recoding doesn't just speak to the food. So when you get those things, what's going to be a beautiful exchange for everybody that participates in your group and in your course is that they're going to recode other things in their lives. And the food and the way you eat is literally just a symptom of what's really going on. So
yeah,
so
and
thank you, thank you.
just one more thing.
Sure.
The result is you will lose weight. You will release the weight because you're eating healthier
Yeah,
and you're releasing all the crap, sorry, all the stuff that was stuck
sure.
on you,
For sure.
by the recoding and the resetting.
For sure.
And because a lot of stuff that's on us is really not food. It's a lot of anger. It's a lot of the other stuff that we've accumulated over the years. So
And you
thank
said
you.
it earlier. Absolutely. Shame. It's
Yes.
shame, it's unforgiveness. When you said stuck
Guilt.
on you, did anybody else hear that song, Stuck on You? And then I'm like, instantly in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go look at that song and see if we could rewrite it to suit your talk. Anyway, thank you so much. And again, go to the comments, and every way that you can reach Yayoi will be there for you and where you can get in closer to her world. So, our next speaker today, I'm so excited. I've actually known her. Golly, it's been like 3 decades, hasn't it? Almost like 2.5 decades. It's pretty cool. And Joan Haney, she is known throughout the world as the prepper mom. She also is, I would actually say she's kind of Hanai to me because she's like all things aloha, which I love. And those of you who know me know that. What I love about Joan is that she can take wherever you're at in your preparedness for any season of suck or sucks, whether it's long, short, whatever, and just with a few questions can figure out how to get you from here to here. She even has, no matter what the price points are, or anything, she even has programs of how to, set aside 2 weeks worth of food storage for like $20. Like, how is that? You can't even get out of McDonald's for $20. McDonald's, don't you love that food? I talk about preservatives. That'll be good food storage. It'll be there in 20 years for you, just the way you bought it. So Joan's been doing this, oh my goodness, for thousands of people over 40 years of her life. She's had real life experience. Her husband is side by side with her, Scott. And from everything, I'm going to say it from soup to nuts, because basically anything that has to do with your preparedness, they have a proven 5P framework: plan, procure, prep, preserve, and provide. And she is also crazy in love with her horses. She's definitely a horsewoman. She's a mother of four, grandmother, a beautiful wife, a rock star wife, proud military family. She brings warmth and wisdom to you, and she's just got the coolest little Southern thing going on. So without further ado, Joan, please take it away.
Mahalo, Cindy. And happy Aloha Friday, everybody. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome to be. I'm getting chicken skin, goosebumps, you guys. That's what they call it in Hawaii. To be here on the Victory Network, whether you're live today or seeing a rerun or replay. And you're just so blessed to have women that are so talented in this panel. And they love you and they care about you and they truly, truly want to help you. That's their mission. And feel so blessed to be here and to be among them. So I have a question for you. If you couldn't go to the grocery store in the next month or 6 months, would you have enough food to feed your family? Could you even survive? I mean, that's what it's about, is survival if you don't have enough food. I don't teach doom and gloom, but it is a fact. And it doesn't have to be a man-made or natural disaster to cause you to need to rely on your food storage. That's even though we do emergency preparedness, the main thing I'm talking about today is food storage, and to be able to be prepared and have everything you need so that you can not only survive, but thrive and be healthy. And I want to share a story with you about some real good dear friends of mine, just to show you it doesn't have to be a major disaster or whatnot for you to need to dive in and grab and start utilizing and using the food storage that you have put away. A girlfriend of mine, Sandra and Rob Wilford, years ago, real good close friends of mine. Sandra was a psychologist and she got cancer. And that was a huge shock to them. And she made nice money. She had to come home because she was sick and doing cancer treatments and all that. So that really affected them financially. And then about a year later, Robert had a really, really good job and he lost his job. And so here you go from two incomes to one income to no income. And they had a daughter getting married coming up the next year. And during that time, their son had something happen when they switched over their insurance, and he had huge bills, and that wasn't covered. But because they had a year's supply of food storage, and they had extra money put away, they lived on the farm too, so that's a huge bonus. But they had extra food put away for all of their livestock and animals. And she said, Joan, she said, we were even able to hold a wedding. And she said, even through all this, because they were prepared. So for some people, it can just be a car breaking down. That can be, something, hey, that dips into your finances, that you have savings or your no savings. So being prepared ahead of time helps a whole lot. And if it's our first time meeting, my name is Joan Haney. My family and friends call me the Prepper Mom. And like Cindy said, Scott and I have been doing this going on 42 years now. We've been living a self-reliant and prepper lifestyle. We've been teaching for over 20 years, and we've helped over 2,000 families get prepared, get their food store, not just a food storage, but everything else they need in the event something bad happened, because you never know when the storms of life, when things are going to happen. And when it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Time to prepare is before the storms happen. And like for a lot of us here, like I'm in Deer Park, Washington. Last night we had huge thunderstorms, and my son in Spokane, he didn't have any power for a while. And we found out later this morning, a lot of people didn't have power. So that was only, 12 hours or so that people were affected, but it could have been a whole lot more. So having everything that you need ahead of time, it helps out a ton. And so I want to share something with you real quick, just in case, because I'm so used to this that this is something that we know and we do. So the average to sustain life for 1 year, your foundational foods that you would need a little over 400 to a little over 400 pounds of different types of grains. So, for example, we recommend, and this is from a university study in September 2019, that you would need 200 pounds of wheat, and you can use different grains of course, if you're gluten intolerant, 60 pounds of flour, 25 pounds of cornmeal, 25 pounds of oats, 25 pounds of pasta, and then your pancake mix, that's 35 pounds. So this is just your basic staples, you guys. This is so you can have a loaf of bread, you can have your basics, but you also need your rice, your beans, your lentils, your sweeteners, whether that's honey, stevia, sugar, whatever it is that you're going to use so that you can eat healthy too. We don't store as much sugar because we try to eat healthier, but we work with families and show you how, if you're wanting to do everything just super healthy or vegetarian options, we help people with that as well. And what we found is that when we work with people, 80% of families, you guys, don't have enough groceries and ingredients to cook complete meals after 2 weeks. And I was just interviewed by a German TV channel at an emergency preparedness fair that I was teaching at, had a booth at this past weekend. And the young lady, one of the women there, she said, "Joan, I don't have more than 2 days." And we used to live in Germany, and that's how it is over in Germany. You typically only have about a week, because you don't have room to store things. So that 80%, you can't make it more than 2 weeks without good, nutritious foods, and you don't want to be eating beans and rice all the time. And you also want to be able, I've heard of people that have a garage full of wheat, but they don't even have a wheat grinder. They've never practiced with it. They don't know how to use it, and your bodies aren't used to it. So all of these things, having them ahead of time and utilizing them, and store what you eat what you store, and rotate it. Then you don't have waste. I have so many people tell me, canned foods, how long do they last? It's like 4 or 5 years or so for commercially canned. And a lot of their food is expired. So there's a lot of little things you need to know. We made a lot of mistakes over the years, you guys, and we've learned a lot, and we love to be able to share that with you. So what we've done is we have developed the Prepper Ready system. And underneath, we have a lot of different services, and we have free all the way up to, we come into your home and we set everything up for you. And in the Prepper Ready system, we have a program, a virtual concierge program, and where we do several phone calls with you, and it includes consulting with you, a personalized food storage plan, the Prepper Mom food storage calculator. This, guys, this is phenomenal. We made this, and we've had people tell us they've been using it for 3 years, that it is just humongous. It has helped them a ton. And not only does it calculate the foods, your staples, but also your vegetables, your fruits, your meat. And it's not just canned. It's whether it's freeze-dried, dehydrated, or commercially bottled, or commercially canned, or what you've done at home. And then there's 4 stores attached to it. So we had this made so that we could talk with a family one evening, the next day, order everything from the 4 stores we recommend and ship it to them the next day and then fly in and set it up the next day. But what we've done that is very beneficial to you is we do a virtual program. And it includes 14 inventory sheets that help you and it all matches the calculator. You've got the cookbook. We even give you as a bonus, give you a survival supplies checklist and free issue of the Prepping for Life newsletter, and then personal recommendations based on your family's needs. And this our concierge is 35K offer and service that we do when we fly in. But this one, the virtual one, we value you. Well, what do you value? Being able to survive, your family having food and be able to survive. What price can you put on that? And we have a special right now. It's $19.97, and we will help you and do a call with you to do our virtual concierge program. And it's full, it has everything that you need. It's simple and it's step by step, and the roadmap is so easy to use, you guys. And I just want to be able, this is a mission. This is a calling for us. And 4 years ago, the Lord told me to retire from a massage. I'm a retired horse trainer, but also retired massage therapist. And he told me to retire. And my mission, my goal is twofold: to save lives. First one's by helping people get their food storage and be prepared. So when poo hits the fan, you're okay. You've got everything you need and your family's going to survive. And then second fold, we're having ranches. We're getting ready to start purchasing ranches and my husband and both my sons are combat veterans, and both my boys have PTSD. And my oldest son, Jed, has had 6 combat buddies commit suicide since he's been home from Iraq. And so our goal is, we used to do therapeutic riding when we had our big horse farm, is to do that again and do it all over the United States. So we're saving lives 2 ways. So anyway, I invite you, if it's touched your heart, if this is something that you feel like, maybe I better check this out. I'd like to talk with Joan and see if this is right for me. Look in the links in the Facebook group, and you can also you'll see on our website, there's ways that you can reach out and get in touch with me. And I'd love to work with you and bless you and your family so that you can have peace of mind, the same peace that Yayoi was talking about. So y'all take care. God bless. Have a beautiful day. And thank you for being here.
Yay! Let's give it up for Joan. Thank you so much. That was so great. Now, because I've known you for so long and you know my background, I come from a family that my mother especially, just we were always prepared. She still is. She has over 2 years worth of food storage for all of us still. Like, and our kids and our kids, like, and I do. And as you know, Joan, I have, my food storage as well. And I have enough for my family that's here. And, it's funny because I did put in the comments about the toilet paper thing, during the lockdown, and everybody, it became a big deal. And I even heard people, oh, that's okay, we have rags. I'm like, yeah. And what if you don't have water? Then what? Like and I think I can hear, because I know one of my siblings has like a ground to ceiling in their garage, huge cistern of water, of purified water, and a spigot, and it's full. And it's so cool because my brother he has my mom has a freeze dryer, as you do. Another thing, everybody talk to Joan about that, because 25 plus years shelf life. My brother has frozen entire homemade lasagnas. Like, and here's the thing, growing up, as you said, now we had a wheat grinder. We would come home to homemade bread, honey, butter, homemade yogurt. Like, that's what we came home to after school, and it was great. But there's only so much you're going to do with wheat. And if you have the whole gluten thing rocking in your world and all that other stuff, for me, I'm like, yeah, but I like to eat tacos with real meat and other things, right? And so what I love about your system, what I absolutely love, is the calculator rocks, but then you sit and you talk to people. Now, is your family really going to sit around and eat biscuits, or are you going to want to dig in and have pot roast? I mean, you like bring it to them, and you have the stores already programmed into your system where you can walk them through being able to fill it out, order the food, and have it shipped to them, or you show up with the full meal deal. Because there are some people that we know. I mean, for me, I'd rather just pay you to do your genius. There are some people that don't want to have anything to do with, right? With doing it, they're just like, here, this is what my family loves. Please talk to me when you need my card and I'll just pay for it. And then please come in and set it up, because some people don't even want to set up a food storage room. And so you guys cover everything. The other thing that I wanted to share, Joan, is I know that you guys cover what medical needs people might have. Like, it's not just about your food. What do you use every day? Right?
Yeah, all
Batteries.
your medical, your hygiene, your lighting, your heating, your water purification, all of that, and how are you going to replenish it? That's where the 5 Ps come in. How are you going to replenish it? What's your plan? You need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail.
100%.
Yeah,
The other thing you said was important, and I expect to see giggles with this. We all come from an era where our parents probably kept and ate things past the expiration date because, oh, it's okay. And I'm just like, oh, ew. Now, right? But back then, who cares? It's only a year, no worries. And then you're tasting like metal with the cranberry sauce, because they bought it on sale the year before, and all the things. So what's interesting is that you address that too. And living, so when I bought my home and I'm living by myself and all these things, and I went and I bought salmon and beef and all this canned stuff, right? And then I'm like, what the freak? I'm not eating all this, and it has an expiration date. So I had to start giving it away to my kids so they would eat it. So I think what I love again about what you do is you've thought of everything, things that we as the lay people would not think of. So by all means, I know there's not anybody watching this that's probably 100% prepared for even the beautiful example that you gave. It isn't just about all of a sudden everything shut down in the world. It's about things shutting down in your world. And so thank you,
exactly.
Joan. Look for her information in the comments, and yay. And so we are going to go to our next speaker, she's a freaking rock star. Like, she's been at this for quite a while doing all the things. Nancy Jones is actually a neuro leadership coach, and I'll let her share what that means. She's actually going to talk to us today about the architecture of belief, understanding the 5 belief systems driving your decisions. She's perfect to do that because she comes at this with, hey, she knows foundationally you have emotion codes, you have body codes, you have things that are stuck in your brain, and you might need some hypnotherapy to bypass that unconscious mind. She will help you. She's in the Neuroencoding Institute, Dr. Amen Extraordinaire, and Paul Maxwell, and a plethora of other cool things I'm sorry, John Maxwell, Paul Martinelli. Says all my Maxwell people here are giggling because most of us are Maxwell people as well. But what I love about Nancy is no matter what you're coming to her with, she actually has a solution that will get you results if you're willing to write it out. Even if you want to start reading, but you're like, I don't have time for that. She has a whole program for speed reading. Like, who knew? So without further ado, Nancy, please share with us.
Oh, thanks, Cindy. That was very kind of you. All those wonderful things. I hope I can live up to that glorious introduction. So I'm going to start out with something I want you to think about as we're talking today about this belief architecture. So here's a question, or kind of a statement. I don't know. If something truly shifted in your life today, I would finally blank. What fill in the blank? What would you do, be, or have differently, more, or better? I am Nancy Jones, and I am a neuro leadership coach. Neuro meaning all things brain, and leadership meaning, you know, we're all leaders, and leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. Yes, I have drank the John Maxwell Kool-Aid, sugar-free version. Yeah, sugar. And anyway, so I totally believe in leadership. I totally believe in how your brain and your mind is really the basis. You always said it great with starting with your thoughts. But where do those thoughts generate from? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about next. So let's just get started. If one of my friends here could actually put in the chat when I mention one of these belief systems, if you could document that in the chat, I sure would appreciate that. So let's start out. 5 basic belief systems. Number 1, the first one is that our core belief has a root belief and that all others grow from it. Now that might look like I'm not worthy, and in fact, that is the number 1 core belief of everyone. It's really the most prevalent is I'm not worthy. So you have one core belief and everything grows from that. Okay? Let's go to number 2. Number 2 is that we have multiple core beliefs. And those beliefs reinforce each other. For instance, I'm not safe. I'm not good enough. Or I'll never be able to do this. Or success causes loss. So it's multiple core beliefs that work together in tandem and they feed off of each other. So that's the second type of belief system. Now, the third one is a split belief system where there are competing truths. So what that sounds like is that there are 2 opposing beliefs existing at the same time. So it might look like I am going to be successful and success is dangerous. Or I can lose weight, but I've never done that before. I've been able to keep it off before. You see how those exist simultaneously? And yet they are in total fighting mode with each other. So what happens is that you can feel like wanting something and yet stopping yourself from achieving it all at the same time. Yeah. You're just doing that whole self-fulfilling prophecy thing there. But these things are real. These beliefs are real. The 4th belief system is a negative belief cluster. And it refers to multiple beliefs that are often tied to one event or an emotional experience. Beliefs might form like, well, I'll tell you what happened with me. Okay, I'll just use me as an example. After divorce, I am not lovable. People always leave me. I'm going to always be abandoned. All from one situation. And I know I've worked with Yayoi before, and I know she has a situation where those kind of things happened as well. They are emotions that come up based on other things that happened before or some thoughts that were implanted. You know, what I didn't tell you is that a lot of these beliefs are not yours. You're not the originator. It could be your family of origin. It could be friends. It could be, and a lot of them came in before you were even 8 years old. Because before that, you have no filter, no ability to reason, and all of the experiences just come down as downloads, like click the button and you've got it downloaded. And it's in your hard drive. And you didn't even have an opportunity to say, wait a minute, that's not true, because it's already there. Anyway, let me get on to the fifth system of beliefs, and that is the inherited belief. These beliefs are passed down generationally. They might not have even originated with you, as I said before. These things can just come in from other folks. They might be things like money is hard to earn. Certain people aren't safe. Or life is always going to be a struggle. Things that you've heard, money doesn't grow on trees. That's the big one. I think almost everyone heard that. And literally, you're right. Money is made from trees, though. Anyway, the paper. But we have these beliefs that are inside of us that create problems for us. I'm going to show you something. I live out in the desert north of Tucson, Arizona, and I went out and got a horseshoe this morning. I don't know if you can see this. Romper, stopper, bumper. All these horseshoes are left on my property. This used to be horse property. I don't have a horse. Horsing is an expensive hobby, Joan. So here's what I'm going to use this for, though. So we all know our first steps that we want to take when we want to get something done. Okay, so the first step when you want to lose some weight would be to, figure out your meal plan, figure out what kind of meal plan you're going to follow, whatever. We know the first steps, and we know our desired outcome. We know where we want to go. We want to be healthy. We want to lose weight. We want to look good in our clothes. Sexy ladies. Yes. Okay. So we know all those things. And what happens, though, is we get through the couple first steps, and then we get into a thing called a disorienting dilemma. And it can look like a chasm or an abyss where you're falling. I say it's a pit. And when you're in the pit, don't stop to decorate it. Figure out how to get out. And that's why you get a coach. Because I'm not putting up curtains in anybody's pit, not even my own. Okay, so we get down here and you've got all these crazy belief systems coming up for you. I've never been able to keep the weight off. I've never been able to make a lot of money. I've always had to work hard for everything. This is good, Paul Martinelli. These are the cards I've been dealt in life. This is what I have to live with. So this is your disorienting dilemma. And what I want to tell you is that everyone has this. It is normal. These belief systems, everyone has them. What we want to do, though, is to shift those. Shift happens. We want we want to stop that gap between knowing and doing. This is the doing gap here. Paul also calls it the because gap. I would do this because I didn't get this done because, the economy is bad. I'm not making money, whatever. So we want to stop that. We want to get that gap gone. And, you can't fix your own mind. You need someone else to help you because you're going to, you have what do they call that? A bias toward what you want to think. You have a bias, and your bias will always pull you back into where you were before. Third eye, third person, third thought, third unrelated person that can help you with that as well as getting to know more. So I started out with a question. If something truly shifted in your life today, I would finally what? I want you to think about that. Think about the shift. And I'm going to tell you what I have that might be a good resource for you. I think it would be, but the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's my care package. When you were in school, somebody might have sent you a care package. When you were gone from home sometime. Um, the CARE stands for, the C stands for clarify, the A is for align, R is for rise, and E is for embody the results. So clarify your mission, your calling, your purpose, align with your true identity, rise in the power of your presence, and embody the results. What I'm working for is to help you with your three selves: your self-worth, your self-esteem, and your self-confidence. Because truly, those are the things that drive this piece right here. We want to go from here to here. Wouldn't it be great to just have a ladder to help you up here? That's what the care package does for you. It gets you that ladder so that when you get to these steps here, you're able to take the next step. So what it is it's a group of master classes, starting out with, as Cindy mentioned, the rapid reading. In 6 weeks, you're going to be able to read and retain and comprehend faster than you've ever done before as well. We then go into, we'll have 2 special sessions with our mentor for the Neuroencoding Institute, Joseph McClendon III. He's done this once before, and I'm telling you, my group loved it. They asked for more. And that's why the care package is because they asked for more. So two opportunities with Joseph. We're going to look at the book Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima. Her name always twists my tongue. So Jamie is the founder of It Cosmetics, and she has an amazing story that you don't want to miss. And we're also going to go into Rules of Resilience by our coaching mentor, Valerie Burton. And then the last master class is going to be cadre choice or cohort choice. Y'all, I'll give you 5 options. You can choose. The one with the highest number is what we're going to do. So it's a 1-year program, every 2 weeks, 26 sessions. I can guarantee you're going to love it because these guys are fantastic. I'll be your facilitator. You're going to get all sorts of workbooks and pages and stuff like that, and some other bonuses added in too. So if you're interested, I am going to be putting my Calendly and my contact information in the chat, and I'll be available for you. So thanks for being here today and for listening. I appreciate y'all. Watch your beliefs.
Yay, yay. Let's give it up for Nancy. That was so fantastic. And you make me giggle because since we were all rocked away at Rockaway Beach, we learned about Nancy. She does things in 3s. And my brain is already conditioned. There's her 3. There's her 3. And we're like flipping the 3s. You don't flip the thing, we flip in 3s. Like, and it was so fun. One of the things that came to me, Nance, when you were talking, because who hasn't heard money doesn't grow on trees? And I just thought, well, how could you get over that? Buy a stinking tree, go to the bank and get a bunch of dollars, tape it on your tree, and then load, instead of rocks, you could put quarters and all sorts of things in the
There you go.
thingy. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm literally thinking I'm going to go do that. I love that. And
There
I was
is a money plant.
yes,
There is a money plant.
We actually remember we gave one to Joseph at his home, our
That's
mentor,
right.
Joseph McClendon. We brought him one at his home when we were there a few months ago. So yes, there's a money plant. So that's pretty fun. You know, I'm thinking this is just me because I know also beyond all these things, your faith, and you teach some really neat things. You have other things that you offer through that. So and I'm putting this out there now, if that's something that you feel drawn to learn more about as well, Nancy, just find her points of contact, climb on her Calendly, her Dr. Amen work that she's doing and the things that she does there too. Again, another thing that plays into it. But you'll get to have a whole year with her every other week, going through the things that she just shared. And then the last sessions will be voted upon with each of you. So that's going to be super fun. And she always comes with really fun visual aids, you know? Was on my walk today and grabbed a horseshoe. And then she crafted, what she shared with us today from that. So that's what you can expect to get from her. Is there anything else, Nance?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't
Oh,
know.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. Thank you so much for being
There's
here.
tons more, but
Fun.
everyone else is got great opportunities as well. I just love tying all of our stuff in together,
Yeah,
and whoever sent those horses across the screen, you're really
that was
what
me.
a hilarious.
Well, I will share this. So we got a horse years ago,
And we found
and
out later,
Joan
this a
came.
lot of people didn't have.
And Joan came, and her daughter Sarah came and taught us what to do with that stinking horse. I'm like, oh yeah, let's get horses. Well, what the heck for? So then, because they were gorgeous and beautiful, but like now I have to get on that thing that's, I'm 5'2.5, now what do I do? So and that was pretty fun, but I'll have to share, and I'm digressing, but I'm doing it on purpose. That we actually got this also a miniature horse, and he was so small that he would fit in a van with no seats. So we put him in the van and brought him home. And his name was Lawn Boy. And we never had to mow our lawn after that. And it was great.
Oh,
We had acres and we just let him go to town. And so that was super fun. Again, kind of inspired from Joan. So thank you again. As you can see, here's something that's really fun. If you've been watching and now, or if you're watching whenever your now is, in the future, you can see all of these fun things that kind of weave together. What I love about being in the presence of such powerhouse women that come into the world anchored in their purpose, they're learning, they're teaching, they're doing the things, is that you might have somebody that is great with like Yayoi, brain to belly, but you also heard also Nancy talk about, releasing weight and other things because it literally is a brain thing, think, feel, do, have. However, you might actually align with Christine, or Joan or Sally for that information. So that's the beauty of the diversity of this group of women and the things that we will be bringing through the Victory Network to you, because sometimes you will have coaches that can all help you get the results that you want. And it really is about, well, who's calling my heart? Who's tugging me? Who do I feel like I align with? And speaking of alignment, one of my favorite people on the planet is Sally Harmon. She's the founder and owner of Charmetics, which is super great. She's so much fun. And it's interesting because she has the similar background, neuroencoding, John Maxwell, Paul Martinelli, Dr. Daniel Amen. And yet she has this passion because of her 40 years in not only just in her industry in the medical field, but actually at the same freaking company for almost 40 years now. And she's seen it all. And the one thing that she's so passionate about, one of many things, but where she decided and feels called for her mission on this planet is helping burned out, overworked, stressed out, freaked out, all the outs, um, healthcare workers. And when you're in that system, it doesn't just start with the doctor, it starts all the way with who cleaned the parking lots. How do I have a way to get into the building? Who opened up, kept the building going? Who made it so that, my feet aren't sticky on the floor? All the way to who greeted me, who signed me in, who's the person doing my blood pressure and asking me the same questions that I'll be asked 3 times. And then who's,
30,
and then the
30
doctor,
times.
right? Yeah, exactly. So, Sally has, yes, all of the brilliance and training of the many things that she's done. But one of the things that she has that if you are in the medical field that you're not going to find with the majority of coaches that you'll see out there is she has the 40 years experience of being a part of all of that. And so without further ado, Sally, please go for it.
Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, so I have a clinical background. I have a business degree in economics and management. So I see it from like all the different sides. So from that perspective, and now I've learned about the brain and all the things that we learn through all the different fellows that we follow. We do seem to be like little groupies, John and Daniel and Joseph. But the part being is that they all, brilliant in their own right, bring a different atmosphere as well as a different subset of learning. So I remember when I started out on this journey, which is part of my talk, The Journey Before the Joy. And my first segue, if you will, into personal development was Tony Robbins. And like everyone else back in the, I don't know, mid 20, what do we call them? The dot aughts or whatever we call them. I don't know. It seemed like forever ago. But I signed up to go to a Tony Robbins event. And it was great. The first day we walked a fire, we did all the things, and then showed up the next day. And there was lots of hype and screaming, and everyone was excited. I was too. And much to my chagrin, it was not Tony Robbins that day. It was a very small, very energetic, lovely Black man. And which is not Tony Robbins at all. He's like ginormous and very Caucasian. And by the end of the day with Joseph, I'm like, who's Tony Robbins? I want more of this guy, right? Because he just really shifted it all. So I went and did some things with Tony, not like at the level of a lot of our friends do, but when I look at that now, so I did Tony, and then I went and joined the John Maxwell team where I met Nancy. She was my table lead, which was fantastic. And that was a little later. And I was like, oh, John Maxwell, these people are amazing. I'm not good enough for them. I got to go back to Tony and get my butt kicked again. Back over I go. Same thing, same 4 days, tall man, little man. And so at any rate, come along a little bit later, and now I'm aligned with Tony and Joseph and John. And through that, Paul Martinelli, another fan favorite and an amazing mentor, he put together at the beginning of the pandemic this unique coalition called the Brain Revolution. And it really aligned with both the teachings of Joseph as well as the teachings of Dr. Amen. So those things coincided with my parents passing within 2 weeks of one another. Interestingly, neither one from COVID. But I just went full in. And it's not been a super fast journey, but I can tell you the progress I've made. I've been in the pit. Nancy, I was putting up curtains, let me tell you. I was staying put. And when you're there, when you're in that season of suck, because, I thought I was prepared. And then, basically in 2 weeks' time, everything I knew was different. So I had curtains up. I may have put on a spare room. I'm not going to mention that. But it was time to move on and start coming out of that. And I did. And I have, it's not that I'm super clumsy, but I had a fall in the fall. And in that fall ended me in the hospital with a big surgery and then a short stint on their rehab unit. And it was at that point, with having daily conversations with both the people who brought in the trays and the people who came in to clean the room. And they're just doing an amazing job with oftentimes very limited staffing and resources. Some of them aren't getting paid a lot. And then we got the nurses that are just rock stars. And in moments, you can see that they're just like barely keeping it together, which was really my indication that this is where I needed to align my business. Prior to that, I also have a child on the autism spectrum, so I thought that might be where I landed with my business. So from December of last year until now, I see shifts in what my business is doing. I want to provide resources for the under supported, overworked hospital staff. I want to align with organizations who can see that completely non-biased perspective that comes in, where people are maybe sensitive, or they are stuck in their story and they're not able to see what's on the other side. So because I'm a little bit of a learning junkie, I recently went to another retreat, which was amazing. And the pictures were amazing. It looked like it was going to be fantastic. And it was. But on the way there, we literally had to drive up a mountain. My little sedan, I had to put in the low gears to get up the mountain because the rocks being my wheels were just spinning out. And I could tell you, I wasn't sure if we were going to make it, because it was up and then a 90-degree turn and up, and you're going up. And the only thing I'm thinking is, oh, I hope I don't meet a car coming down. What will I do? What will I do? And about that time, I look up, and of course, there's that car coming down. So fortunately, they got out of their car, because this side's mountain and this side's cliff. And he backed up and he pulled me through. And well, suffice to say, I brought in my mirror, and I snuck past his car very gingerly. And I got where I needed to go. I stopped, of course. I thanked him, and then I told him there was one more car right behind me. And so he played traffic cop on the side of the mountain, and I continued on the way. And it was so worth it, getting to the top of that mountain and seeing where they were holding the resort, and sitting there as the sun set, and we're doing meditations and just amazing activities. And, had I not been willing to go through that journey, had I stayed in my pit, in my seasons of suck, I'd have never been able to have that experience. And I just encourage everyone, if you feel like you're stuck, or if you're not sure how best to get out of your pit, as I mentioned, as Cindy mentioned, 40 years of the same facility. I'm very patient. I'm very tolerant. I can work you through anything. And I've got all these tools that I am thrilled to show you, teach you, get you where you need or want to be, and come out on the other side just thrilled that you made the journey and you didn't get stuck in your season where you're unsure or unclear where the next steps are. So I'll be putting my contact information in the comments. And if you're interested, I'm doing free discovery calls so we can talk and give you some little tips and tricks to get you on your way. And then if you are interested in working with me on a one-on-one basis, I'd be happy to help you get you to the other side of the journey. Thank you.
Yay, give it up for Sally. Some of the things that she didn't share, because we talked multiple times, right, on her way to that event. And I mean, even on her way there, there was some kind of crazy stuff going in the different cities that she was going. She couldn't, there was like, it was literally like she was Mary. There was no room at the stinking inn. Like every place, and this just happened a few weeks ago. And she was like, I can't find a place. So she has her sister in the middle of the night looking for trying to find her a place to stay, and then one of the Motel 6 or whatever it was, because it wasn't her usual Lux place, and she stayed there. But what I loved about it was that she just kept going. And then she tells me this thing about the mountain. And if you've ever done that before, and you look this way and there's cliff and peril, and you look this way and there's no way to turn because it's the mountain. The fact that I remember her telling me, and I just was hoping and praying nobody was coming down, and I already could hear it, and there was somebody. But how cool that there was, again, the way that God aligned it for you. And I believe that things happen not just for us, but because of us. There's such a powerful thing for you there, because I've seen Sally get to the top of her mountain continuously, and things happen like the fall in the fall. And she flipped that whole thing when I mean, she was in the hospital. She didn't share this, I'm sharing, but 6+ weeks or whatever, however crazy long you were there. And that fall in the fall. And we would talk like every night, and she'd tell me like what she basically journaled of the things of the people that needed help there, of the pregnant nurse that was by herself all night long taking care of the whole floor by herself, or all the things. It was front and center, shaping you for what you bring to the table now, right? I mean, for
Mhm.
this divine purpose you have. Please reach out to her if anything resonated with you, whether you're in the medical field or not. Sally is an amazing coach. She's amazing at these, but she has a radar for this stuff, and you don't see it coming. All of a sudden you're like, dang, she caught me. She heard what I said. Now I do have to face it and fix it. So and she does, like she said, she's been quite the seamstress with her own curtains. So she knows how to seam them, and she knows how to rip the seams apart. So she can help you when you're redecorating also. So thank you, Sally, for all of that.
You're welcome.
And so last, of course, and but not least, we get to hear, and I'm so excited about this as well. And you hear me say this because I'm excited about each of these women. They each bring such a juicy aspect to my own life. And I just want you to be able to align with whoever aligns with you, and you'll love it. So Christine Keller, Coach CK, which I'm digging that name. Like when she came up with that, I'm like, ah, that's so great. Her talk is the Resilience Reset. Now, let me tell you about resilience, because Christine is the epitome of resilience. And she also knows when you're resilient, sometimes you wear that mantle, and then it prevents you from being present in other things because you have a lens that, okay, like I think it was Nancy that said, always happens to me. Everyone always does that. And then you build up this resilience. Well, trust and believe, if you work with her, she's going to see that in you, and she's going to call you out, and you're going to love it because you will change. She is an empowerment architect. She is a rock star wife and a wonderful mother who had to advocate for her son at a very early age, and has a lens, and she'll share that as part of her story. Yes, it's so funny because, yep, we know her. And funny the way that you introduced Joseph, by the way, Sally, but funny that we know her obviously through our mentor, Joseph McClendon III. She has been a part of that, but she was originally, I believe, part of Maxwell. And we also know her through, of course, Dr. Daniel Amen. Yeah, we do sound kind of like groupies. And, but we also happen to know the things that work. and the things that will help you to change. And so what I love about her is she helps women to gain clarity. She helps women to build confidence. And like when you get home and like lots of rooms are blown up. So you go in the living room and you start cleaning up and you pick up one thing and you take it to the next room and you go to put it away and then you start working in that room and you forgot you were working in the living room and then by the time it's time for dinner, you have four partially cleaned rooms and all of them are still a mess. Well, the thing I love about Christine is she's going to help you to stop, do all of that. Just take the next step. Just one. You don't have to clean the whole house at once. Let's just start here and we'll just take the next step. So without further ado, Coach CK.
Hello, hello, hello. Well, thanks for that introduction. And yes, and what I love is being surrounded by women who value learning as much as I do. And you'll see that with all of us. Obviously, all of us have a lot more that we haven't talked about at the same time. I've done some work in emotional intelligence, a master's in special education. There's just so many things and so many facets that we have, and I just love being surrounded. But for today, my name is Christine Keller or Coach CK. And what we're going to talk about today is the resilience reset. So you can raise your hand, you can put a 1 in the chat if you've been at this point where you've known what you should do, had a dream you wanted to pursue, felt called towards something you felt was maybe a little bigger than yourself, yet you found yourself hesitating. How many have found that hesitation can be expensive? It can steal opportunities, delay your dreams, kind of wear on your confidence. And over time, it convinces us that we're incapable when we're actually just kind of inactive. The again comes in that mindset frame of our neuroencoding that we talk about. So most people think of resilience and think the opposite of resilience is a weakness. But I don't feel that. I think the opposite of resilience is hesitation. Think about that for a second. Because when you think about resilience, when do you really find your resilience or when you feel resilient? It isn't during the easy times of life, right? It's through the harder times when life isn't so easy. So resilience can be revealed in the moments when fear says, wait. Doubt says, you're not ready. Failure says, don't try that again. We don't like that. Or overwhelm says, stay where you are. You're good right there. You're fine exactly where you are. But resilience tells you, just take that next step. So a few years ago, I found myself exactly in that spot in many different situations where I stopped making plans. I stopped thinking about my next step. I stopped dreaming. I just stopped in all areas of my life. And I hesitated to believe again, to even think that there was something next, that there were any dreams left for me. But as Cindy mentioned, one of the things and one of the rocks in my life is my son. And I knew because of him, I didn't have a choice. I had to take that next step. So sometimes, even though I didn't feel quite resilient, I knew I had to be, and I had to be for him. So, and that's when I learned a super important lesson. confidence doesn't show up because you need it, like right before that most important thing. Your confidence actually develops and shows up after you decide that you're going to make that next step, that you're going to do that next thing. And that's where you build it. And that's where, that hesitation fools you to think, oh, I just need the confidence. I just need the preparation. I just need all these things before I can do that next step. But guess what? Those things never come if you don't at least start to take that next step. So let's think about 3 signs of possible hesitation. And I would venture to say that we've all hit some of these, if not all of these, and at different points in our lives and different rotating times in our lives, right? Sometimes we kind of lose sight of the vision that we have. We have these plans, we have these dreams. And then why is it all of a sudden one day the vision's gone, the dream's gone? You didn't change. Where did it go? Right? Why did we change that? You start listening to these thoughts in your mind that aren't so positive. And why do we let those thoughts win? Why do we let them take them over? Right? And the biggest one, you just decide not to take that next step. You just decide to stay right where you are and be like, I'm good. I'm just gonna, and I brought this out the other day. I'm just gonna Cindy, I can't even remember how I said it now. And it was just so perfect the other day. Like, life was lifing me, right? Something in that nature. Instead of me choosing my life took over. And it was living me instead of me living my life. So I want you to really think about these next 2 questions. And if anyone on here wants to, 1 or 2 people actually respond, I'm totally good with that. But you can just think about it too. So what's one thing that you've really been hesitating on? And what has that hesitation cost you? Right, I'll say that again. What's one thing you've been hesitating on? And what has that hesitation cost you? I could probably list 10 things right now. We don't have time for all that, right? But I mean, we all know that we have those things that we do for multiple different reasons. But think about what that cost is. And we talked a little bit about that. It costs us our time, right? Our confidence. Because if we don't take that next step, we're just feeding into our heads, oh, I couldn't do it last time. Or I'll wait till Monday. I'll start on Monday. Or this week doesn't work for me. I'll start next week. Or you know what? Next month is looking amazing to start that. Right? What about your peace? Your peace inside of you. Because when you're in constant angst of, well, I think I should be doing this, but I'm not doing it, right? Where's that peace of moving to your next step and what you want? Or those opportunities. Because guess what? Opportunities don't wait for you. If you don't take them, someone else is going to take them. One of my favorite, stories about this is look at Blockbuster. And if you're young, you don't even know what Blockbuster is. They decided not to take opportunities. And Netflix won, Redbox won, right? They won out because they had the opportunity. They were given the opportunity and they said, we don't need this. We know what we've got. We're good. Now they don't exist anymore. Or maybe 1 store, 2 store. I don't know. I guess they had 1 or 2 a little bit ago, but no one really knows who they are anymore. So thinking about that, are you really willing to give that all up? Are you willing to give up your time? And one, the hesitation is really you just spend more time wondering why you're not where you want to be, or why you're not doing what you want to do, or why you're not who you want to be. Are you willing to give up that peace? Are you willing to give up those opportunities that can take you where you need to be? And are you willing to give up that potential joy you could have from following your dreams, from doing what you want to do, being who you're called to be, remembering the person that you're supposed to be in this life? Is very easy to forget. So what I discovered through coaching most women is, look at us right here. We don't need more information. We have so much information. We got it, right? And we can all say this because as coaches, we have coaches. As it was says, we get in our own way, right? So that's why we can all own up to this. None of us are perfect on this panel, and we don't ever want to pretend to be. We'll be the first ones to tell you we have our own coaches, right? We have people to look up to. And really inside, we already know what we should be doing. That's why we need the coaches in our lives to ask us the right questions. We need the coaches in our lives to help us focus and gain that clarity, like Cindy said. What is my vision? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Because more than anything, who you want to become is the most important question you can ever ask yourself, and the most essential thing to work towards. Because you can want things, you can want this, you can want that. But if you don't know who you want to be and who you want to become, those things that you want aren't going to come. So what us high achieving women need more than anything is our way to move through hesitation. We need that bridge. We need that bridge to help get us from where we are, who we are, to where we want to be, to who we want to be. So we want to bridge that between fear and action, right? The bridge between knowing and doing. Like, we know the way to lose weight is to eat less calories, to exercise more. And just like we were told earlier, brain to belly, it's not all about just those simple steps. There's so much more behind it. It's the thinking behind it. It's the mindset. It's the neuroscience behind it, right? So let me tell you, the woman you're becoming isn't wanting you to gain more confidence. And it doesn't want to wait. The person doesn't want you to wait on building the more confidence. She's waiting on you to take your next step. Because to be resilient does not mean you don't have fear. Resilience just means you're going to fear a little less, and it will allow you to take that next step. So resilience is also what happens when you refuse to let hesitation make your decisions for you. And let's be real, we've all let that happen in our lives. None of us have ever been in a position where we've never hesitated. So now it is time to take that next step. And what is it? I want to be there for you and help you gain that clarity to know what that next step is for you and become stronger than that hesitation that you have in your life. So I'm starting a mastermind, and obviously great minds think alike. Nancy and I are right along. Hers just may not come right up in the beginning. We'll just make sure hers doesn't. So we're going to talk about rules of resiliency. Hers could be the follow-up after I introduce it, and then hers will follow it up for you to really bring in that point, because we know it takes more than one time, right, to know what we need to really ingrain it in our heads. So I will put my contact information in for you. I'm Christine Keller, Empowerment Architect, and I'm so grateful that I was able to be here with you today.
Yay, yay, give it up for Coach CK. Yay, 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 yay. Again, you know what I love about all of this is just seeing the synergies, something that hasn't been talked a lot about today. And what I do want to bring to each of you in the Victory Network is each one of these gals are women of faith. And everybody's on a different part of their journey there, but they come to it with that in mind as well, which is so great because know that you'll be prayed over. Know that that what they bring to you is something that they've spent time in the word or in prayer, knowing the right things to bring at the right time. And I think that there's such huge value in that. So Christine, when we come and I wrote this out actually. I drew a bridge while you were talking. So from fear to action, how do I collapse the bridge there? Like, like I'm even to use, I think maybe it was something that Nancy said earlier is like, I've done that before. I've done the diets before. I haven't released the weight or whatever. There's no way. Just give me the Doritos. Like, forget about it. So how do I go from that place to the action? Like, and what will your program help me to be able to install into myself?
And that's such an easy question to ask, but the interesting part is it's different for each person, right? So there's not, and that's the beauty of the bridge framework that I have, that it is not a one size fits all, that I have this program that's going to fit you. There's the beauty of the program is that it meets you where you are. And there's different things of that. You may start, there is a bridge framework, but you may have already figured out this part, right? So maybe you skip to the next part, but maybe actually there's a part in the middle that you need to start off that's really holding you back before the other part, right? And that's the beauty of the bridge, is just taking the step, because yes, there may be an order in the framework because it works nicely for the acronym, even though I don't have the threes because bridge was 5 letters, right? But we can't all have the threes. But Nancy did do care. So that's 4. She broke her just messing. But and that's the beauty. And I love that you point that out, Cindy, because it's not a one size fits all. And I think that's what makes all of us here just great coaches, because we don't have one framework that says we're going to make you fit into this framework to make it. This is what we have, and this is going to fix you. And number one, none of us are here to fix you.
Right.
You're here to fix yourself.
Yeah.
And we just give you the tools and the coaching to help you do it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so, so, so much. Now, both you and again, before I even say this, please go to the comment section. You can see exactly how to connect and get more in each of these beautiful coaches' worlds. Some of them have Facebook groups. Some of them have, all the other things. Like they either have the Facebook group, they do one-on-one, they have their offers that they've so generously shared today. And a few of the girls today, and I'm going to wrap us up with just a short little story. A few of the girls today talked about resilience. Now, what was so interesting is that's such a really powerful word for me. And I want to share a story about a woman. And I wasn't even going to share this. And as they're talking, I just felt it in my spirit. So I did the Dr. Amen in the beginning of 2021 before I joined Joseph's, became a founding member in the Neuroencoding Institute, which was April of 2021. I actually had a SPECT scan. And I thought, because I had had some trauma and some other things, that for sure we're going to find some things and I'll be able to sun, water, rest, supplements, whatever, fix any of that. And what was so interesting, 2 things happened. One of them was, if you've had a SPECT scan with them, you go, it's a 2-day deal. There's IVs, there's all this stuff that happens. And then they make an appointment with you, and either in person or on screen, they will go through the results of everything. And so I have these brightly colored, beautiful, pictures of my brain and all this stuff. And when you're sitting in the office and you're waiting for your turn for them to call you back, you get to watch the loops of the success stories that they've had and hear people's stories and testimonials. And And every single one of them, there's something that comes up and says, everybody knows nobody has the perfect brain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all these things. And so I was like I wasn't white gloving it because there wasn't really anything that I was concerned about, but I expected, something. And so the first thing they said was, and it was a naturopath psychiatrist, and she was in their California office. And she said, you know what, Cindy, here's what's wild. She said, out of the 20 years I've done this, you actually, and it's so weird for me to even say this out loud, you have about the healthiest brain I've seen. Now, I was like, wait, what? I know that face that Nancy just made. I was like, wait, how can that be? And in my mind, I'm thinking of hurts and things that have happened. I'm thinking of the car accidents I've been in, the time that I was a gymnast. So bonking my head, like that was a legit. I remember doing, like pretending at age like 6 or 7 that the swing set bar was like an uneven parallel bar and falling off and literally biting my tongue off, like legit. They had to sew it back on, like all the things, right? And nothing. But here's what was interesting, because at the time I was in a marriage for slightly over 20 years and longer than anyway. However, this is what she said. She said, well, Cindy, I can see why. She said, because the part of your brain that's for resilience is off the charts. And I thought, right? Such incredible feedback for me. Because what that said to me personally was, great, I kick in and this thing happens, but then there's other parts of me that suffer emotionally or whatever because I'm using that. I mean, such great feedback. I say that to share this story. There was a 4-year-old, and listen to the resilience in this. 4-year-old, true story, Marina Chapman, years ago, was taken from her home in Colombia. She was thrown in the jungle and left to die. She was literally playing in her garden. They came and took her. The next thing she knew, when she woke up, she felt something kind of chemically. She was knocked out. She was sitting in the back of a truck with the thing over her head. Grown-ups, kids, everybody crying. Here's this 4-year-old. Nobody in her family was there. She was by herself. Imagine if you've had children or if you have grandchildren. And then all of a sudden, the truck stops. Some guy chunks her over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes, runs through the jungles of Colombia. Her dress is getting torn. She was in a little dress. Her legs are getting ripped up. It's nighttime. They dump her in the jungle by herself and they leave. A 4-year-old. She's so traumatized that she literally, and hungry and terrified, and she falls asleep. She's awakened in the morning with bug bites and all the things you can imagine, like in the jungle. Like I'm just thinking, I'm thinking humidity and I'm thinking my hair, like if it were now, but just like all the scary things. And she was getting pushed and she just kind of peeks her open and it's a little capuchin monkey. And when she's looking, there's a whole troop of them surrounded and they're pushing her like she's a ball. And she instantly makes herself tiny and she tries to hide and she tries to shrink and they're pushing and pulling and nudging. And she curls into a tiny ball and just wants to hide. She wants to shrink. All she's thinking about is, where's my mom? Where's my mommy? I mean, and she's terrified, right? Eventually they stop and she looks and they're swinging from tree to tree and they're foraging for food and she's surrounded by nuts and berries and all these things, bananas, papayas, whatever's there in the jungle. And they all of a sudden like form a line and they leave, and the monkey at the end comes back and gives her 2 hands of food. What are the odds, right? And then as the monkey's getting back in line, kind of beckons her to come. And so here this little 4-year-old girl, Marina Chapman, started following them. And she started living a monkey see, monkey do life. Every single thing they did, she did. For it said 7 to 10 years she lived in the jungle like that. Like, how is that even a thing, right? I mean, and I actually I heard this story and then I looked it up on National Geographic and a bunch of other things. I mean, because I wanted to know like what really happened here. And here's what's so interesting is she started drinking from leaves when it would rain and all these things because monkey see, monkey do. I want you to think a second, because when did you do that in your life? When were you surrounded? When did you shrink? When did you hide? When did you adapt? When did you start adapting because you wanted to fit in, which is very different than belonging, right? And you started to live a monkey see, monkey do life. Now, she didn't choose that life, but she sure learned how to survive it. What have you survived in your life so well that that survival became your identity? Think about it. Now, for sure, they know it was at least 5 years. And so she ate like them for 5 years. She moved like them for 5 years. She learned. She still, when I read about it, she was in her mid 70s, I think, which was a few years ago, swinging from tree to tree. She can still do that with her grandkids if she wanted. She's beautiful, by the way, and has gorgeous children and married a doctor and all the things. But one day, this is what happened, and this is so powerful to me. She could see from where she was at in a tree on the floor of the jungle in the middle of Colombia, something sparkly. She swoops down, she grabs it, and she looks at it. And then she looks at the monkey family and she looks in this, what's in her hand, looks at the monkey, looks at what's in her hand, and it's a mirror. She looks at them, she looks at herself, looks at them, she looks at herself. She realizes, I don't know what I am, but I'm not one of them. When did you have your mirror moment? Maybe you're having it today. Maybe you haven't had it. I'm going to tell you, when you have that mirror moment, reflect on what you've learned today, because one of these women could probably walk you right through it. And if you haven't had that mirror moment, I guarantee that you could. Now, here's what's so interesting about that. Because you have these moments in your life where you've adapted. How many times did you do that? How many times did you give parts of you away to adapt into something? But here's the funny thing. I mean, we talked earlier, Nancy, I think, was about beliefs. Like, what do you really believe? Well, our beliefs are inherited. They're inherited behaviors, like Nancy said, by the time you're 8 years old, habits, patterns. And eventually you don't even question them anymore. You just embody them because this is the way it is, right? But what if you're not living the life that you were created to live because you've believed other people's stuff, because you've adopted other people's things? You've learned to shrink, you've learned to hide, you've learned to survive, you've learned to do those things. Now, I've done this at different times in my life, not just once. And I think of this one specific time after losing a baby at 6 months pregnant, my beautiful son Kalani, and that which means in Hawaiian the heavens. And here's what happened. And I'm sharing this deliberately because I want you to see where you're at in your body when I share this. So I'm 6 months pregnant. I am at the hospital. There's some things that are wrong. I actually gave birth and caught my son in the toilet as he came out of me, and he was alive. And he was anencephalic, so he had a brain tumor. And you know what's interesting? Because this happened twice. So that happened first to John Eric, and then Kalani was born 20 years later, almost 6 months pregnant. And that was more of a schedule because his heart stopped beating. Here's what happened though after Kalani. I didn't just carry grief, I became grief. Over the next 11 years, I gained 140 pounds. I tried everything to fix it, to lose it, to nip it, to tuck it, to fast, to not fast, to eat this, do that, all the things. And then one day, my beautiful son, Nicholas, had the courage to say this to me and said it with so much love and conviction. And he looked at me and he said, well, Mom, that's just sad fat. And I'm like, well, what? You know, but he wasn't wrong because something clicked in me. That was legit sad fat. Now, here's what's interesting. I wasn't just holding weight, 140 pounds. My sweet Kalani, we're Hawaiian, man. He would have been 11 years old. A few years later, he would have been 140 pounds. My kids weren't tiny teens. 140 pounds. I was holding pain. I didn't just gain that, I gained a whole nother body because I didn't let him go. At that time, I didn't even realize, without realizing that I had literally gained him every inch of the way over 11 years. And it was just, one of those, it wasn't even, I can't even attribute it to, running for the border, Taco Bell, Nacho Bel Grandes. Like it was just whatever. I stopped working out. I started doing that, but it was what I was holding on to. And I was holding on to even unforgiveness, sorrow, grief, anger, all of those things. Now I share that to say this. What are you holding on to? What was today about for you, whether you watched it today or in the future, that one of these beautiful women can help you to just release? Because the minute that I did that, I released 140 pounds and kept it off. And sure, I talk about it. I still have that squishy 20 pounds left that will be released by the time we're in Hawaii this fall. And I can't wait because we're doing a photo shoot on the beach and all these beautiful women will be there with me. But here's what I did is I changed the questions that I asked. And I did have coaches. I have a coach now. She's in Australia. I am a coach. I love what I do. I have the most amazing clients and teams of women that I get to work with. And I recognize the value of having somebody outside of myself give me the right questions. And so I ask you today, what do you really have to believe to create the victory in your life that these women just reflected back to you? Whether it's that you join, what I had to believe for my sons, I have 3 sons in heaven. You guys have heard my story. I had to know that, guess what? They're like in Disneyland. They're all sitting in heaven in the arms of my loving Father. We're down here. They got it made, man. They have Taco Tuesday every day if they want, whatever they want to do. But what I had to start asking different questions. I want you to start asking yourself, do yourself a favor, reach out to one of the women wherever you're at today, and whether you need to just take that next step, whether you're burned out, whatever it is. I just thank you so much for being here today. Feel free, reach out to me if you want to ask me questions about any of them. Understand that I'm probably one of their number one raving fans, so you're going to get that out of me. But I'm happy to do that. Thanks again. I want to thank each of my beautiful guests today for the power and the presence that they bring. What's the third one? Power, presence, and purpose. Ooh, Nancy, for the for the power, presence, and purpose that they bring to you today. I love each of you so much. And thanks again for being part of the Victory Network.
Well, hello.
Are we done?